Hash the golden stage. The afternoon sun streamed through the tall windows of the Pasadena Civic Auditorium, casting long shadows across the rows of empty seats. In a few hours, those seats would be filled with thousands of people, all waiting to witness something extraordinary. But for now, the vast space held only silence and possibility. Simon Cowell sat at the judge's table, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable as always. Beside him, the other judges reviewed their notes from the morning auditions. They had seen talented singers, impressive dancers, and clever comedians. But Simon had seen it all before. After years of judging talent shows, it took something truly special to move him. "Next act, please," called out the stage manager, his voice echoing through the empty auditorium. From the wings of the stage, a small figure emerged. He was a boy, no more than 12 years old, with dark hair and warm brown skin. He wore a simple white shirt and dark pants, and his eyes were wide with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. His name was Miguel, and he had traveled all the way from a small village in the Philippines to stand on this stage. But Miguel was not alone. Perched on his shoulder was a Capuchin monkey, small and alert, with intelligent eyes that seemed to take in everything around them. The monkey wore a tiny vest, and his fur was neat and well-groomed. His name was Kiko, and he had been Miguel's companion for as long as the boy could remember. Simon leaned forward slightly, his interest piqued. Animal acts were not uncommon on the show, but there was something different about this pair. The way the monkey sat calmly on the boy's shoulder, the way Miguel's hand gently rested on his friend's back, it spoke of a bond that went beyond training and performance. "Hello," said one of the judges, her voice warm and encouraging. "What's your name, and where are you from?" "My name is Miguel," the boy said softly, his accent thick but his English clear. "I am from the Philippines. This is my best friend, Kiko." "And what will you be performing for us today?" asked another judge. Miguel took a deep breath. "Kiko and we will show you something special. But first, I want to tell you a story." Simon raised an eyebrow. Contestants rarely took time to tell stories before their performances. They were usually too eager, too nervous, too focused on impressing the judges. But something in Miguel's quiet confidence made Simon lean back and listen. "3 years ago," Miguel began, "there was a big storm in my village. The rain came down for many days, and the river rose very high. The water came into our houses, and we had to leave everything behind. My mother, my father, my little sister, and me, we climbed to the roof of our house and waited for help. The auditorium had grown very quiet. Even the crew members backstage had stopped moving to listen. I was very scared," Miguel continued. "The water was everywhere, and the wind was so loud. I held my sister's hand, and I prayed that someone would come to save us. But the water kept rising, and I thought maybe no one would find us in time." Miguel's hand moved to stroke Kiko's fur, and the monkey nuzzled against his neck, as if offering comfort for a memory that still hurt. "Then I heard something," Miguel said. "A small sound, like crying. I looked down and saw Kiko in the water. He was holding onto a piece of wood, but he was very tired. The water was pulling him away. I told my father, and he said it was too dangerous, that we had to wait for the rescue boat. But I could see Kiko was going to drown." Simon found himself sitting up straighter. He had heard countless sob stories over the years, some real, some exaggerated for sympathy. But there was something in Miguel's voice, a simple honesty that cut through all pretense. "I did not think," Miguel said. "I just jumped into the water. It was very cold, and the current was very strong. But I reached Kiko and pulled him close to me. I held him tight and tried to swim back to the roof. But the water was pulling us both away." Miguel paused, and in that pause, the entire auditorium seemed to hold its breath. "Then Kiko did something amazing," Miguel continued, his eyes lighting up. "He climbed onto my head and started making loud sounds, very loud, louder than I had ever heard him make before. And because of his sounds, the rescue boat heard us. They found us in the water and pulled us both to safety. Kiko saved my life, just as I tried to save his." One of the judges wiped her eyes. Even Simon felt something stir in his chest, though his expression remained neutral. After that day, Miguel said, Kiko would not leave my side. We became family. My mother said Kiko chose me, and I chose him. When things were very hard after the storm, when we had no house and very little food, Kiko would make people smile. He would do little tricks, little funny things, and people would laugh and forget their worries for a moment. I saw how much happiness he could bring. Miguel looked down at Kiko, and the monkey looked back at him with those intelligent, knowing eyes. So we practiced, Miguel said. Every day, we practiced together. Not because I wanted to train him, but because we wanted to share something beautiful with people. We wanted to show that even after bad things happen, there can still be joy. There can still be love. Miguel took another deep breath. We saved money for 2 years to come here. My whole village helped us. They said, go and show the world what you can do. Show them our story. Show them that hope is real. Simon Cowell, the man known for his harsh critiques and impossible standards, found himself speechless. He had seen thousands of acts, heard thousands of stories. But this was different. This was real. Well then, Simon finally said, his voice softer than usual. Let's see what you can do. The music began, a gentle melody that built slowly. Miguel and Kiko moved across the stage in perfect harmony. It was not just a performance. It was a conversation, a dance, a story told without words. Kiko leapt and spun, but always returned to Miguel. The boy moved with grace, guiding but never forcing, suggesting but never demanding. They were two beings moving as one, bound by something deeper than training or talent. They demonstrated rescue scenarios, with Kiko retrieving objects and responding to emergencies with remarkable intelligence. They showed moments of pure joy, playful interactions that made the judges laugh. And they showed moments of tenderness, quiet scenes where boy and monkey simply sat together, a reminder of the bond forged in the floodwaters 3 years ago. When the performance ended, the auditorium erupted in applause. The judges stood, clapping enthusiastically. But Simon remained seated, his hand hovering over the golden buzzer in front of him. He thought about all the acts he had seen, all the talent that had crossed this stage. He thought about what made something truly special, truly worthy of recognition. It was not just skill or polish or entertainment value. It was authenticity. It was heart. It was the ability to make people feel something real in a world that often felt shallow and manufactured. Simon's hand came down on the golden buzzer. Golden light flooded the stage as confetti rained from above. Miguel's eyes went wide with shock and disbelief. He looked at Kiko, then at the judges, then back at Simon. Tears streamed down his face as he hugged his small friend close. Simon stood and walked onto the stage, something he rarely did. He placed a hand on Miguel's shoulder and spoke quietly, though the microphone caught his words. You came here with a story, Simon said. A real story about survival, about loyalty, about love. And you showed us that the best performances come not from wanting to impress people, but from wanting to share something true. You and Kiko have something special, something money cannot buy and training cannot create. You have each other, and that bond, that connection, is what makes this beautiful. Miguel could barely speak through his tears. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you for seeing us. As Miguel and Kiko left the stage, still showered in golden confetti, Simon returned to his seat. The other judges looked at him with knowing smiles. They had seen him moved before, but rarely like this. That evening, as the sun set over Pasadena, Miguel sat backstage with Kiko in his lap. He thought about his village, about his family, about all the people who had believed in them enough to make this journey possible. He pulled out his phone and made a video call home. When his mother's face appeared on the screen, Miguel simply turned the phone to show her the golden confetti still clinging to Kiko's fur. His mother's cry of joy could be heard throughout the backstage area. Somewhere in the Philippines, in a small village rebuilt after a storm, people gathered around a phone to watch the video that would soon be shared around the world. They saw their Miguel, their Kiko, living proof that from the darkest waters can emerge the brightest light. And Simon Cowell, sitting alone in the quiet auditorium after everyone had gone, smiled a rare, genuine smile. In a career built on judging talent, he had just witnessed something more valuable than talent. He had witnessed the unbreakable bond between a boy and his monkey, forged in flood waters and polished on the golden stage of dreams.